Okay. Okay, perfect. Yeah. All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to MJ Make My Day. We're actually streaming live over New Jersey. We're here live na live po sa New Jersey. So if you're watching YouTube, MJ Make My Day, and of course on Facebook page, MJ Make My Day, we are live. So welcome everyone. At syempre, if you're watching from the Philippines, sa Pilipinas po naman, alas 11 na po ng umaga, kaya makasama niyo po kami for about 60 minutes. And tonight, we have a very interesting topic. And before that, I would like to introduce to you, please welcome the host of the Glass Half Full. Started off with Dr. Lisa Blanchfield. Come on, Dr. Lisa. Thank you very much. And another host of the Glass Half Full, Dr. Asa Ezat. All right, in a short while, you'll be joining one of our friends, Arlan Quisido. Come on, Arlan. And Vienna Salvoro is with us. Okay, so again, thank you very much for watching, and this is MJ Make My Day, and you're watching live from New Jersey, USA. Alright, so what are we waiting for? Let's start the program, and of course, you are watching right now MJ Make My Day. Okay, so most people think of the holidays as time of full of joy, good cheer, and optimistic hopes for a new year. However, for many people, it may also be a time of loneliness and anxiety and a reflection of what they may consider past failures. The holiday blues can be caused by many factors: increased stress and fatigue, unrealistic expectations, over commercialization, and the inability to be with family or friends. All right, so we're hearing some background noise. So it's actually morning in the Philippines. All right, so the holidays can be overwhelming, just like what I said, any year. But this pandemic season, the stark contrast between the joyful scenes we see playing out in Hallmark Channel movies and the lost isolation and financial hardship many are experiencing in real life will be especially painful. All right, I think I have to interview that rooster. All right, rooster, are you joining the meeting? All right. So, Biana, if that is coming from you, please mute your audio. Biana, can you please? It's not my house. I know. Maybe the rooster would like to join us. All right. So, stress and depression can ruin your holidays and hurt your health. Being realistic, planning ahead, and seeking support can help ward off stress and depression. The holiday season often brings unwelcome guests, stress and depression, just like what I said, and it's no wonder the holidays often present a dizzying array of demands. Cooking meals, shopping, baking, cleaning, and entertaining, to name just a few. And if coronavirus disease 2019 or COVID-19 is spreading in your community, I hope not, you may be feeling additional stress, or you may be worrying about your and your loved one's health. So tonight we are going to discuss how to cope the stress related caused by the holidays. I would like to introduce to you our first host. She has been a licensed mental health counselor for 15 years and has been in private practice in Staten Island for the past 8 years. She has experience with providing counseling to all ages, and her focus has been on cognitive behavior therapy, mindfulness, and building a resilient life. She has been working in both inpatient and outpatient community settings during her 30-year career, to include being a counselor after 9/11 or 9/11 for the city of New York, and is currently providing counseling during the last pandemic crisis. author of your weekly journal of positive wellness and affirmation. Please help me welcome licensed mental health counselor Dr. Lisa Blanchfield.
Hello, hi everybody. I think tonight we are going to try to talk about what's going on in the holiday season this year. It looks a little bit different than other years. A lot of us aren't able to travel. We may not be able to be with our loved ones, so we're trying to find other ideas and techniques and strategies to feel better this holiday season and not have the depression and the anxiety take over us. So I think just to acknowledge our feelings that it is a different year, but how can we make it just as festive and happy as every other holiday season? And I think we're all struggling with that. So we'll come up with some ideas tonight. If anybody has any questions or comments, let us know and let us know what's working for you. We're all getting together, which we do here virtually, which is a great place to communicate. And I think that that's probably the holiday season theme this year is going to be virtual and meeting people online and talking to our loved ones and sending things by mail because we can't get together. So I think it's just going to look a little different this year, but we've got a lot of good ideas of how to get through the holiday season.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Lisa Blanchfield. All right. Let me introduce to you our next host, author of Make Your Dream Come True 2013, and co-author of Overcoming Cultural Bias as a Roadblock to Success, author of The Next Big Thing, Possibilities for Self-Development and Goal-Setting Strategies for Optimal Success. She is a family nurse practitioner who is a board certified by the American Nurse Association and licensed by the state of New York to provide family-centered healthcare to patients of all ages. She is committed to leading the journey to teach the importance and value of culture-specific approach in caring for individual needs, building communication skills to bridge the gap between individuals, groups, and communities, and supporting the role of the healthcare industry to embrace aging by promoting an atmosphere that enables patients to maximize their individuality, independence, and dignity with the instinctive ability to focus on each resident's specific needs, desires, and quality of life. Please help me welcome Dr. Azizat to our glass half full.
Yes, hi. I'm really lucky to share the stage with Dr. Lisa because this is something psychology more than anything else, but we'll share some of the tools, some of the real experience that during the holiday, which is supposed to be a wonderful time, we all have to admit that it's almost in every single home, there is some kind of one way or another struggle. Meanwhile, a holiday always in our mind as some celebration, some good time. So we are struggling between the feeling of the ordinary celebration and the actual struggle where everybody's a bit pandemically going through the viruses and its complication and its problem that it's everywhere. So we're gonna be talking real small tools that can make a big difference. So thank you, and we'll be welcoming anybody that would like to come and ask question or share something that can help somebody else. Will be open to listen as well.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Dr. Atse. All right. So before we continue with our program, and I'm going to introduce Arlan in a short while, I would like to say hi to our viewers. To our Facebook page, we have RJ Julian, who's actually watching right now, and to Usapang Kalye, we're in last week, there were like 167,000 views that they have. So I hope we can share even at least 50% of that 167,000 views that they have. So I would like to say hi to June Prejas, who's watching right now, and to Cherie Wilford Mieles, who's also watching right now. And of course, our followers from Facebook and from YouTube. And we have our friends also from California, Atielma, who's actually tuning in tonight to learn more about coping up during the holiday stress. All right, how are you doing today, Arlen?
Actually good. I'm just grateful to be invited here, and actually I want to say thank you to, especially to Dr. Lisa, for connecting with you and to for your audience, pretty much. Especially soldiers, we actually need this in terms of mental health. There's a lot of people getting depressed, and we're here to listen.
All right, thank you very much. Actually, Arlan is a veteran from the U.S. Army who's also a Filipino American, so it's a pride of the Philippine country. And also we have Vienna Salvoro joining us tonight also, and in the Philippines, just like what I said, it's actually morning in the Philippines. And we have an early rooster greeting a while ago. So, okay, so, and I would like to say hi also and enjoy watching to Tamara El Gamil, who's actually watching right now as well. All right. So, my first question to our doctors tonight: what kinds of chronic illnesses that can be developed or be aggravated from stress during the holidays? Would you like to start, Dr.
Leslie, did you
Lisa?
want to start?
Um, Stress usually can affect every single part or cell of our body. Stress can be damaging to somebody with the diabetes. You will have uncontrolled diabetes. It can damage your immunity system, which is going to put you at risk, or you will be vulnerable to catch any small viruses. And we are not just talking about the COVID virus. We're talking about the flu. We are talking about any other infection, and your susceptibility even to heal if you get sick in normal circumstances. It's going to be also affected if you're in stress mode. The stress mode is the kind of the activity that it's only triggered to assist you for a short period of time, and then everything go back to normal. But in this situation, you will be in kind of the fight or flight kind of response, and this is not good for our body, and that's a trigger for not just a chronic condition, but for developing acute situation as well, because your immunity system will be extremely terrible, and it will be very low, and will also affect your sleep. It will affect your eat. You're not going to be able to choose the right meal, because if you're stressed, either is going to stop eating, or you're going to eat any junk food that you're going to find just to fill a gap of something is missing. So definitely stress on it can be your friend if it's a short period of time, if you are going for a test, and this will help you to be up and studying and ready for the test. But if it's just a stress that everybody now going through, it's definitely a good idea to be mindful and to be aware that this is not something is helpful at all. So it's not good to be stressed, and especially during a holiday time, which is supposed to be, even under the worst situation, we can still enjoy and make the best out of it, because the fact that we are still talking, and the chance that somebody is listening to us, that they have something to be grateful for, something to be thankful for. And whatever the situation is, we can always look at how we'd like to turn to be and focus on the positive aspect of the situation. So if somebody lost their job, they can always have an opportunity to look to what exactly would like to be the next stage of their life, and to be prepared. And we all learn not to take anything for granted. So there is, at this point, like one day at a time, and you just be thankful and grateful for what's going on. And you look at the positive side, which it does seem a little bit difficult when you are in the situation, but it's always a good idea also to allow yourself, as Dr. Lisa said in the beginning, to acknowledge that this is tragedy, this is something not expected, this is something not positive, but you allow yourself not to hide it and try to put the smiley face, everything is good, it's a holiday, I'm happy. It's not helping, because that's what happened with the post-stress disorder. You're just hiding your feeling. So, but you need to move to different kind of feeling, from an anxiety, from fear to an anxiety to stress, and gradually get you to improve your feeling and get over it, and you come out stronger and more resilient, and you'll be able to look back and to reflect on what happened, and give you some strength to grow to the next level in your life.
Thank you very much, Dr. Hatsa. I think that's wonderful to hear. Um, how about you, Dr. Lisa? What do you think is the what are the kind of stresses and why do you think people become so stressed? Just like what Dr. Asa said, it's how they were supposed to be enjoying, having a good time with our friends, with our family. Why do you think there are some people that actually affected by the holidays? So,
I think we have holiday triggers. So this is not the first holiday for most of us that we've had some sort of not a tragedy, but I think that sadness comes in at the holiday time because we've lost loved ones, not only due to this year, which has been a horrific year for loss, but we've lost other family members. So we start to remember other holidays. We go back and think about other times when things were different and we were together and think about family. And I think that's what's causing the sadness because the time of year, even just to listen to Christmas music or see that people are enjoying themselves. We're really not right now, but we're pretending we are. So we're trying our best, I think, but we're also isolated. We're lonely. I know that I can't go home to my town for Christmas, and one of the main reasons, is because of COVID. And I'm listening to the advice of not traveling and not being around people and having small gatherings and so if you were planning on a huge family event, that's a loss. So I think it's a lot of grief and loss, and we deal with it just the same way we do with any other kind of separation that we've had. We have to build up our skills. The stress management is the key. So stress is always going to be here. I think about what's stressing me now, and it's just a different type of stress, but it's still the same thing and it still feels the same way. So I think that we'll have to go back into all of our coping skills that we've used forever, and whatever is a strength for us, we have to rely on that. If it's your spirituality, if it's volunteering, if it's calling a friend, sometimes we just have to reach out because we're feeling so isolated that we have to find other people that we can talk to. And this year it's going to be tough for people, and I think going into the new year as well, we're going to have to really work together and be a resource and try to support each other and to talk about it. As Asa said, I think that to acknowledge and to say this is not normal, but this is how we're going to get through it is probably the healthiest way to deal with it.
thank you very much, Dr. Lisa. All right. So before I turn over to all our guests for tonight as well, I would like to say greet all our viewers. Another one we have Leah Dino Manabat from the Philippines who's actually watching right now, and also we have Al Bautista from New Jersey. Okay, so how about our guests for tonight? I have Caleb, Biana, and Arlan. Let's start with you, Arlan. You gotta put up a little bit of the volume. It's we can't hear you that well.
Can
Arlan?
you hear me okay now?
Sure.
What about this one? Is that good?
A little bit more.
Okay. What about that?
All right, perfect.
Okay.
That's perfect. Much better.
Alright, so Caleb and Biana is actually a friend of mine in the Philippines. Caleb is actually here specifically because she has questions with Dr. Lisa because she's a psychologist student. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm just here to support, and the most healthiest way to cope up is if you're feeling stressed and if you can't take it, just ask for help. Asking for help is not a weakness, actually a strong point because you're going to be a better person. So that's what I always tell myself and to my friends.
All right, thank you very much, Arlan. And also to our viewers from Usapang Kalye, Luz Aaron Fugan Tamayo and Ray Enriquez is actually watching right now. Thank you very much for joining us. All right, so to our two friends that is actually asked, do you have a question, Caleb? How are you doing?
Hello.
Hi.
I'm good. Hi po. Narinig ba?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Thank you. I have a question for this day about why do people feel isolated even though they have people on their sides? because sometimes I'm curious about people who is feeling lonely or sad even though they have friends. So yeah, why do they feel that?
All right. From our doctors.
What do you think, Dr. Lisa?
I would just say that it depends how they feel inside. So if we have certain feelings, we can feel depressed and be in a whole group within a whole group of people, or we can feel depressed and be in a relationship, or we can feel depressed inside a family unit. So how you feel and how psychologically how you're dealing with things, your mental health is usually separate from your physical situation. And I think that we have to ask ourselves, how are we feeling every single day? Because someone might not be asking us. We could have people all around us, but we don't actually say to people, how are you feeling today? So I think that that's where the isolation comes in, because we can't express how we feel, and also people are not that accepting of it. I mean, how many people do you know that just care about how you feel? That's not usually human nature, right? It's about always, we have discussions and we can have conversations, but we don't really hone in on how someone's doing. So I think that causes people to feel isolated and not being able to express themselves. Do you think it's about communication? Also, like in a family unit, maybe people just aren't communicating in a healthy way.
Yeah, I do have a follow-up question. Thank you so much, Kayla. Do you have another question, Kayla?
Yes, I do. Last question for psychologist or the one who is counseling the patient.
Okay.
How do they manage the patient or the person who is feeling unwell, or how do they cope with that?
Ozzy, you want to take that one?
And we're talking still about the isolation and the feeling of isolated and depression.
I think she's asking how a professional would deal with a patient that had that situation of feeling isolated and lonely.
Okay, I believe from what I'm seeing and I've been seeing that most people did not get a chance to know and explore and discover themselves a lot. And when they got faced to sit at home by themselves, they find they got lost
Mhm.
because they didn't have that relationship with themselves first. And it's an opportunity for people to self-discover themselves, to reflect back on situation that they had in life, situation they overcome, how good they are, how strong they are, how weak, which area that need to be improved, which relationship need to be healed. It's affecting us in some positive way as well, because we are start to feel people get more spiritually, and spiritually it doesn't have much to do with religion, but they start to know that there is a power higher than themselves, and there is some kind of unity, we all connected. So if we take advantage of that particular situation in knowing that we are all connected, and you rise above the selfishness of just living for yourself and feeling you are not part of the whole, and all the stuff that we used to hear and not to feel, it's going to be a huge kind of change for ourselves and for the society and for the world. And you cannot be isolated if you feel like you are part of everybody else, and that's what we are now. We listen to the news from now. I feel like the whole world is just so small and so closer than ever. I don't know if everybody feel the same way, but that's how I feel it. So you can take it as a positive way and look at the bigger context of the situation, that I'm learning and everybody else is learning, that we are all in the same situation. We're all connected. We're all one. We're universal human being. And when you get that feeling and that peace, you never feel lonely. You will always have the inner peace that things will get better. And it's not just me, and I'm not gonna be get mad on somebody else. And if there is a relation in my life, I'm gonna try to resolve it. I'm gonna forgive. I'm gonna forget. I'm gonna change my life. You can take it as a huge good opportunity. So you can look at everything like the glass half full, and you take an opportunity and improve and learn and grow.
I have to say something about that though, like from the professional point of view, especially both for doctors. Yeah, it's very easy to say and construct in a sense. However, um, like us veterans who suffer from PTSD, when you said when we were lost, I remember that day when I was really lost, and it's so hard to think about positivity, even though I'm a very optimistic person. So, what would your message be to, um, especially for the soldiers who just came from deployment a couple months back? I'm pretty sure some of them are experiencing that. And it's a very traumatic um, experience, you know. And
Absolutely.
I'm still getting therapy out of it.
So,
It's been a while.
all right, was that
So,
okay? Go ahead.
go ahead, Marlon.
Is that a question? Can you repeat the question again for us, Arlen?
Yeah, yeah. So, as as doctors or professionals, and especially like psychologists, like whoever understands this, it's I always say it's very easy to say and put in a sentence or construct in a sentence. However, like if you're feeling this way, like I was deployed in combat, I have PTSD, and it's so easier to say that just think positive. And coming from me, that I'm a very optimistic person, even though there's problems, I just laughed at it. But imagine those people that are not. Like, what would your advice to them? Because for me, I seek help, and I don't see it as weakness, but most soldiers do. We're trained to just fight and suck it up. So I don't know what would be the right way on how to say it,
Okay.
how to help them, because soldiers really don't know how to seek for help.
Okay. Before you answer that, I would like to say hi to Liz Jeff, who's actually sent us a applause emoji. So they're actually enjoying the conversation. Dr. Lisa and Dr. Asa, and of course with our guest Caleb, Biana, and Arlan, our U.S. Army veteran. I would like to say hi to Ray Enriquez. Before we move on and answer that question, I would like to ask everybody to please watch this one.
when it wasn't necessarily the best option. Kobe missed his first
All right. Okay. Hold on.
because he took them, and most other people wouldn't have taken them. So
I'm so sorry about that. Okay, we're gonna go back to our programming. All right. Okay, there you go. All right. So let's go back to that part. Dr. Lisa or Dr. Asa, you want to answer that question?
I think that for Arlen, one of the things that we should focus on with PTSD is really how to become more stress resilient. Because once we already develop the post-traumatic stress disorder, it's something that we have to learn how to live with. So the resiliency, which we've talked about many times, is our ability to bounce back and to try to react to the traumatic situation that we already went through. So it's accepting that whatever happened to us in whatever traumatic situation, which a lot of people now are going through trauma with the worldwide pandemic. how fast we can come back from it is really the key. And I think the awareness and being able to identify, and I give you credit for being able to verbalize that you have the PTSD. And I think that for most veterans, they have to be able to acknowledge it, and we have to try not to be in denial of the feeling. And then once you identify the feeling, we can practice all the coping skills. And there are many different ways to deal with it. I tell people all the time, right now, in all the crises that everyone's in, we have to eat, sleep, think, write, and try to take care of ourselves, try to take care of our bodies. And I think sometimes if we break it down and just make it really simple and not try to go through theoretical ideas, and people ask me all the time, where is this coming from? If we just deal with one day at a time, and being mindful that it's there and it's something that we have to work on. You can't rush it. There's no fix. There's no magic pill. PTSD is something that lingers on for a very, very long time. And I think the support you're getting, and I encourage you, and I've encouraged anyone that has those symptoms from the trauma, the traumatic event, is to really reflect on what's going on with you and how are you feeling and what are the triggers, because we all have those, and then to try to go into the next step of what can we do to try to cope with it.
Would you like to add on that, Dr. Asa?
Yeah, I have to echo what Dr. Lisa said. The fact that you are saying that you acknowledge that you have some the stress disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder, is a good way of being open about it. I also believe the self-care and to pay attention to your need and your feeling, because when you start paying attention to what you need and how you feel, and you engage in certain exercise or activity that make you feel okay, you feel better, you feel like you're forgetting about what's going on, you allow your body and your mind to start getting back into the self and to consider this as a past. You cannot just brush it off or deny it, because it will get worse. Our mind cannot just put something at the back burner without paying much more attention to it. So the way is to acknowledge that you're feeling stressed, feeling sad, feeling upset, feeling angry. You go for a walk, you exercise, you talk to friends, and then eventually your body and your mind start to get back in a healthy way and to acknowledge that their self-worth, and they will help you to overcome it and get through it faster.
Thank you so much, Dr. Asa, Dr. Lisa. I do have a question for you, but before that, I would like to say thank you for joining us, Prince Eden Amorin, and of course, our new member of the discussion, Emmanuel Joshua, and also Lena Zaza. We actually will have a lot of viewers tonight. I do have a question for you from one of our viewers. She said, I don't have tons of money to buy Christmas presents, but the kids don't really understand. How can I explain this to them without adding to their level of stress? That is a question from a parent. So, who would like to go first? Arlan. No, Dr. Lisa. Arlan is actually a parent of. How old is he, Arlan? Your kid?
My kid's 4 months old.
4 months old. And so, did he actually give you a wish list already? Not yet.
I mean, he probably will, but I'm just gonna be here to try to support this.
Okay. All right. I'm so sorry. Okay. All right, Dr. Lisa, would you like to answer that question?
We're trying to find other ways this year, I think, and because there is such a financial crisis. Ways for families to do things that are not as expensive, and we can't do Disney, we can't travel, we can't have elaborate Christmas parties. So I think we're all trying to be creative and just do natural homemade things that will actually, maybe within a family, learn how to do the basics. Kids are so used to having all the stimulation, electronics, which they're very much addicted to now because they're home all the time. But also just because we don't have outside activities, we have to kind of be within our own bubbles. So I think the families have to try to come up with some ideas of activities, old-fashioned ideas that when I was growing up, we didn't have any exterior stimulation. We all just figured out how to do things ourselves within our family. So it's arts and crafts and cooking and baking and things that are kind of the basics that we have to go back to that don't cost anything. Um, it's hard for children because we've given them so much, and now to say we don't have it, it's going to be there's going to be some backlash, and there's going to be some it's going to trigger the kids because they're used to having things. But
That's true.
I think if you work on it as a family together, and come up with some creative ideas, it'll probably work for everybody.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Lisa. I have another question, and this one is for Dr. Atsa. One of our viewers said that every year she tell herself not going to buy any into the whole holiday thing, but each year she feels that her level of stress goes through the roof. Any strategies for coping? There is just so much to do with so many people's expectations on the line. What advice can you give to one of our viewers, Dr. Atsa?
I will say, to put things in perspective, the whole idea sometimes we are the one that makes it a must. And when we try to, maybe we need to try to change ourselves, and it's our belief that we have to do this, we have to do that, we have to go all the way, we have to spend so much money, we have to do a lot of gift, where sometimes you find, I noticed this year when I got just a card with happy holiday, thank you for what you're doing, it just fills your day. So again, it takes to realize our own system and our own belief. It's not about the present, it's just about instead of stressing over getting 10, 20 kind of present, you can just spend, even like Dr. Lisa said, homemade card, and you can make simple stuff and make a nice, cozy atmosphere and happy. I don't think we are looking for what will make us feel good, and we think that this present is going to make us feel good. Where in fact, if you really feeling good, you're not going to think about what is in the envelope. You know, you're just happy that somebody remembered and give you that kind of present and thought about you. And I think that's what matters more than anything else. The material, we all got. It's not. I'm not gonna minimize the importance of the material stuff. It's so important. But if that's gonna be between your happiness and your well-being and just enjoying the holiday, or just you have to do that and miss out on enjoying the day, I would pick the enjoying the day, making quality time with your one that you care about and they care about you. And yes, if you can give a lot of present, or you can make a promise that it's birthday coming and gonna get better, and you're just giving hope, and you're giving happiness, and you're giving some sunshine during that time of the year.
All right.
So you can enjoy the holiday and be happy.
Thank you very much. Let me turn you over back to Arlen, Caleb, Biana, and of course Emmanuel.
Yeah, like I want to say something about that. So like, my message to like the viewers in the Philippines, especially, MJ, that you and I had talked about, the past, and we pretty much came from a world of poverty. We grew up from there. So I think like, the most important thing is just, you're not being COVID positive. Even though just like through pandemic, like just be grateful and for what you have, and for of course like the Western culture. Everyone here is are used to like having presents and gifts, and I didn't know that until I came here. So my message for them is just to if some of your family is for a worst case scenario, if they have COVID, just at least like pray for them, and there's I don't want to sound mean, but they're alive, and there's hope, and I think that's more than enough than having the gifts. Like, just be grateful with everything.
I agree with you. Yeah,
To describe it.
totally agree with you, Arlen. What would be your stake with that, Caleb?
again? I'm a child. Can you repeat
Oh, sure,
the
no
question?
problem at all. So, we've been talking about the stress brought by the holidays, and Arlan was just saying, instead of material things, again, we're not saying that material things are not really important, especially for the kids and people around us that was actually expecting some gifts. But what are your other, what are the things that you can actually say? How do you spend this holiday aside from providing those things that are tangible?
I guess as I was a kid, I remember that we don't have a lot of stuff or toys. We just enjoyed the happy moments like being with parents.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's important to spend time with your kids and not so much about other things like give attention to your child because it is important for everyone that every child needs attention and every child needs love, not just the toy. That's all.
Exactly. Thank you very much. Very well said, Caleb. How about you, Emmanuel? Would you like to add on that?
Yeah, I would like to add that um, it is very important for the kids or for us, especially the kids, to know the value of gratitude in everything on what you have. And even though there's currently a pandemic, we should learn how to appreciate what we have. And we should also teach our kids or their little brothers or sisters on how to uh, be thankful of what they have. And I think the most special thing that we are going to have this holiday is our lives itself because we are alive. We were not stricken by COVID, and that is one very special thing to be grateful about. And I think uh, the same goes with uh, Brother Arlen.
I love my team.
Awesome, awesome. All right, so I do have a very important question to our host for tonight, Dr. Asa and Dr. Lisa. So, we are still experiencing the pandemic and started almost a year ago or 10 months in some places. One of the questions that we have is about this lady that lost her boyfriend's father who died because of the pandemic. So what do you think she can do to be able to help him celebrate the holidays? It's a very tough question that I would like not to ask, but it's one of the questions that we have in here. So do you wanna answer that question, Dr. Lisa, Dr. Asa?
So she lost a loved
The
one due to COVID?
Yeah, her boyfriend's father.
Okay. I think that right now, probably the focus of her attention has to be how she's feeling and, the loss that she's experiencing. Sometimes we try to distract ourselves with things like the holidays and celebrations, but it's probably time to just reflect on the loss and find support, find people to talk to, people in her family. I'm sure the whole family is grieving because it's a loss for everyone. So I think to get the support is probably the best at this time, depending on how she's feeling. Of course, we have all our skills that we use, which are the mindfulness, living in the moment, exercise, trying to find whatever stress management works for us. Depending on each person, it's different. It could be walking, it could be music, it could be talking to someone. And then, of course, reaching out to professionals for help. But she's probably in a place right now that she just has to get through the stages of grief and loss due to, the death related to COVID.
Yeah, which is so sad. All right, another question, and this one is for Dr. Asa. Ryan just lost his job and now dealing with holiday stress. Any suggestions to not get the blues while being with friends and family? Dr. Asa.
Again, losing the job is something, it appears traumatic when it happened. But when people start to look back years from now, they will know that things happen for a reason, and that's why it just reminded me when I was looked at Dr. Frank Victor when he said man search for meaning. And usually this is something that I always reflect on. This is the guy that he lost everything, his wife, his liberty, and during the Holocaust horror, and he kept having in mind that what will he do after he comes out. And correct me, Dr. Lisa, he lost his daughter, I mean, almost his whole family in front of his eyes. And when he
Right,
was
during
in
the
prison, yeah, Holocaust, he was in prison, he was seeing how people torture, and he was tortured himself. But he made up his mind that he will see what criteria or quality or attitude that makes some people strong and what makes some people really give up and die. And just by having that attitude in mind, he came out, and everything that he was picturing, it happened. That he was lecturing about how you can survive trauma, and he came up with his own theory. And the thing that's stuck in my mind, that you always have to find a meaning, try to find out why this happened and what is the reason behind it, and you just have your mind coming out of the tragedy of what he's going through. And when I read what he's going through, I don't think any of us or any of what we are hearing is nothing comparing to what he faced. And he came out stronger, and he kept saying that a guy came to him for counseling. He said, I lost my wife, and he was a doctor, very prominent doctor, very strong and very successful doctor. And he was at the age of breakdown. So Dr. Frank will start talking to him, and then he asked him, what will happen if you die? He said to him, I don't think my wife will ever be able to deal with what happened. He said, see, that's why. And he said that was just give him some relief, that he couldn't have see his wife enduring that pain, and that comfort him. So what I'm trying to say is there is always deep meaning to things that happen in our life. And when we try to think about it in constructive way, we can have our mind expand beyond the situation and give us ideas, comfort, strengths that will help us to grow and overcome whatever situation that we have. As long as you are alive, you're still alive. So you're giving your mind kind of a space and time and opportunity to find out what happened and what is the meaning of what happened and how I can come out stronger. And this is my advice to anybody who struggled and who is gonna struggle, and just to look at it as something temporary, and they will come out of it stronger and better.
Thank you very much.
We better ourselves.
Thank you.
We better our life.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Before I open, we have like maybe like 10 minutes for an open discussion with our guests. I would like to read one of our comments from Facebook from Jayo and Marcelo. We Filipinos never get to make the Christmas a stressful one. We tend to step aside the problems and feel the spirit of Christmas. The real essence of this holiday season is being with the family and the children to feel the holiday spirit. Find time to spend loving and be with your loved ones and friends. From Jayo and Marcelo, good evening and watching here from the Philippines. I would like to say hi also to Alden Valdez, and he said Merry Christmas to all of you guys. So Merry Christmas to you too, Aldrin, and thank you very much for watching MJ Make My Day, The Glass Half Full with Dr. Liza Blanchfield and Dr. Aza Edsat. And from Usapang Kalye, I would like to say hi and thank you for watching to Jinky Hugo. All right, so we have like 10 more minutes to open our discussion. The floor is yours. Feel free to ask our doctors, our experts for tonight. Whoever would like to begin, feel free to do so.
I'm just gonna volunteer for for the group that I invited. So their question that they want me to ask, especially when I met you and Dr. Lisa, was how were you guys gonna help, or how are you guys gonna help the Philippines in terms of getting connected to a psychologist? Because and you know this, like in a very remote area, they don't even know that they're depressed, and they question themselves like, why is this happening to my life? But there's no education to that certain area, and it's very sad. However, and it's unfortunate, but what you mentioned earlier, like every time there's holidays, we step aside on the problem, and it is what it is, So like, what would be what would I don't know, the advice or help for them?
We're trying to get the awareness, and I think this is MJ's goal. And the reason that we're having the telecast at this time of day is so that it's available to the audience in the Philippines in the morning, right? So
That's
that
correct.
it's
That
a
is
time
correct.
that they can tune in. And our message is that the awareness should be there. I'm not sure how else other than through social media right now that we can try to offer our assistance. I've been doing this with Dr. Azza for months now, and what we're trying to do is to share our knowledge with people who have less, and have, I'm sure in the Philippines, there isn't a mental health forum, a mental health blog. We have mental health everywhere in this country, and I feel really positive to say that I think our support system is strong enough, and I know that I'm busy all the time trying to help people. So if the network of providers in the Philippines had better communication, I think, to get the awareness out, people would probably reach out. But if the culture is used to not having anyone approach them, I mean, we turn on the television and we see ads all day long, regarding our mental health, not just our physical health. So I think the awareness has to be there. And if a show like this, MJ Make My Day, we can focus on coping skills and strategies and stress management, and people can listen, and then they can process it, and then they can Google it and learn and do some self education about it, because the internet has many opportunities to learn any topic that you're interested in. So hopefully we're going to get the message out with this type of communication. MJ, do you think there's maybe another way that we can
Of course, definitely.
communicate?
Yeah, absolutely, Dr. Atsa. So that is basically the main goal of MJ Make My Day, and just like what I'm saying, 2021 is going to be a big year for us, for Dr. Lisa and Dr. Atsa, because we're actually planning to have more of this type of program, and of course, trying to reach more people, not just the followers of MJ Make My Day. As we all know, Arlan has been helping us also on the marketing aspect of the show. And plus, with our guest for tonight, I hope we can come out with like a group support program wherein everybody will be able to reach us, and even though it's not the time for MJ Make My Day to be live streaming, we'll be able to assist them. I'm gonna try to create a platform wherein everybody will be able to have their share of opinion and share of questions as well. So one thing that I can see right now is basically the easiest one and the fastest move that we can do is to create a group chat that is specifically designed and exclusive for the glass half full, which in I am inviting Caleb and Emmanuel and your friends as well to be part of that group chat in such a way that the conversation for the glass half full with Dr. Asa and Dr. Lisa will be open 24/7. You don't have to wait until Friday, but there will be a way for you to send that message anytime you want it. And I know Dr. Asa and Dr. Lisa at their very best, with the best of their ability, they will be able to accommodate and answer your question through the group chat. And that is something that we're actually looking at. So you're gonna be getting the assistance or the feedback or the opinion or the counseling that you will be needing 24/7, and that is part of the plan. There are some other means that we can do that, but definitely as we go along the way, we'll be creating a group, and hopefully this group will start with all of us and become bigger, and you can share it until the whole world, not just the Philippines, because our show is being watched worldwide. But of course, we're going to start with the Philippines, and we'll see how we're going to be able to do it. And plus, watching MJ make my day, you're going to be able to hear and get a lot of feedbacks and advice and also ideas wherein you'll be able to see it for yourself and make yourself a better person, hopefully.
I just want to add, I'm so impressed and happy to hear that young generation, Emmanuel and Carla,
Kayla.
right?
Mhm.
They are really appreciative of relationship, family. They both mentioned that they would enjoy the relationship and they are happy that they are alive and they start focusing on the positive aspects. So I am very positively happy and optimistic about the future of the new generation because it gives them just a shift to what's important in life. So our focus will not just be on coping and on resilience. We're gonna talk about how to succeed, how to make it big, how to have big dreams, how to live your best life.
Absolutely.
So I'm very optimistic to hear the new generation have this optimistic outlook. So we're not going to talk about depression.
That's
Depression,
right.
We're going to come out of the depression stronger and better and happier.
Absolutely, and
That's
that
right.
is basically the main goal of MJ Make My Day. And of course, the glass half full is to promote positivity, and that's what we are here for. All right. Do you have any question, Emmanuel and Kyla? I think I'm gonna promote them as part of the administrators for the glass half full once we work on our group chat to serve 24/7, right? Kyla and Emmanuel.
Hello. Last question for me, I guess. How can you encourage someone who is afraid of consulting from a professional? How can they? How again? Sorry. My question is, how can you encourage someone who is afraid of consulting from a professional?
Mm-hmm.
So you're asking if you know the person, and then how would you encourage the person to seek professional advice?
If they're
Yes.
afraid to seek, how do you encourage them, right?
I think that's the question, yeah. So if it's someone close to you, I think whoever knows us the best or whoever has the most contact with us would probably be the person that could encourage you the most and maybe do it with them, as a guide or as a support and walk them through the process. It's difficult to do it alone. It's so hard to reach out, and sometimes we need someone just kind of there with us to give us that extra support. I think that would probably be the easiest way. I think once you reach out and you meet the professional and you get past that barrier and not being afraid and realizing how much it helps you, that then they would probably be on their own to heal and feel better. But that initial step is so difficult. It usually we really need someone to help us get past that first approach, like approaching the clinician or approaching the professional.
The second approach is to get over the person's fear. Fear is virtual and it's something that you can turn and have courage. So the opposite of fear is courage. The second approach is to get you can eventually also learn to seek help without being afraid. You know what I mean? And that's what we mean about the self-care, that you are caring for yourself enough that you are not afraid. And this will take time, it will take practice. Like you cannot just change something you've been doing for years and come and say, I'm brave, I'm gonna go on. But you can slowly, gradually make a little bit changes at the time until you become more courageous and asking for what you think is yours and will help you. You're not asking for something that doesn't belong to you or doesn't help you. So there are so many ways we can talk, and I'm glad that you're asking this question because that's what happens when people are afraid to ask, afraid to dream, afraid to win, to get rid of the fear, period.
Absolutely. And I would like to add on that also, Dr. Lisa. I myself is actually a certified mental health first aid trainer. So I think one of the things I will be doing, and now that Caleb and Emmanuel and Arlan is here, so maybe next year we can start the mental health first aid training. Actually is like a training that we provide for CPR. So when you see somebody that is having a problem breathing or choking, what do you usually do? So that is basically the main idea of becoming a first aid mental health first aider. For you to be able to see the sign, will be able to be there before calling someone, because that is very important that you have to be there. If it's safe for the person and safe for you, be there present. If not, then we have to seek for professional help. And we always seek it. Yeah, we always said that there are actually some strategies that we can do to be able to help the person, but nevertheless, what important to do is to seek professional help. So it's not going to be easy, but that's how it is. So I think it's part of the plan that we're going to be doing. Also, we're going to have our very own mental health first aid training, which we'll be providing next time. Okay, so one last question coming from Emmanuel.
We mentioned earlier that we ought to deliver this message or this topic to remote areas or to people who are experiencing such dilemmas. And but seeing it firsthand, uh, the culture here in the Philippines, mental health is very stigmatized,
Yes,
and it is kind of treated as a taboo,
I was about to
and
say that. Yeah.
it wasn't. We weren't very much well oriented to mental health, and my question is, how can we break that stigma? How can we step one, uh, put one step towards breaking the stigma
All right.
with mental health?
I'm gonna answer that question before I turn you over to our professional. Again, as a mental health first aider trainer, that is basically the goal of that training. The mental health first aid is to, if not to erase, but to ease out the stigma of the mental health. Mental health is something that is true, it's reality, but there's hope. That is basically the idea of the mental health first aid. To give an idea for our doctors, Dr. Lisa and Dr. Atsa, I agree with Emmanuel. Actually, in the Philippines, we treat mental health in a different way. Sometimes the person is having an experience or already, or probably has that mental illness, but when they speak to someone that they knew, or sometimes it could be the parents, which is very sad, they just say that it will just go away, which we all know that it will not. So basically, that's just a small gist of the entire way that we Filipinos are actually looking at on a mental health illnesses. All right, to answer that
I think
question.
that's everywhere, even in the United States as well. It's just like recently, everybody start to come out and they say it's normal to have mental health wellness. It's normal to seek help. So it's not just in the Filipino. I think it's worldwide. We are looking at the mental health as something like mental. We are not talking about it's part of the body that it get affected by stress, by belief, by trauma. So what people start saying now, you are not embarrassed if you have fever. It's something you cannot control. So mental illness, mental health is just to avoid the situation from getting worse and to deal with it because it's affecting the body as well. I believe also the COVID became some kind of stigma now worldwide. We spoke about that, Lisa, I believe, right? When people start to hide that they have COVID in certain countries, I know in my country it becomes like the family doesn't want to take the body to bury them. Oh, it's COVID, and it's a stigma. It's something that we create as a society. So the same way we created, we can also resolve. I hope.
Thank you very much, Dr. Atsa. But anyway, I just walk a little bit faster just to show you, this is basically the handbook of what I'm teaching. So I'm inviting everyone. It's also a promotion for Life's Next Chapter Foundation, because that is basically how I met Dr. Asa and Dr. Lisa as we did our mental health awareness program last year. So basically, this is what we're going to do. So I'm asking Caleb and Emmanuel to let's continue coordinating with the help of Arlen, of course, and we're gonna select a schedule next year. We can invite as many people as possible. We can do it in English or in Tagalog, so it's much more better for other people to understand us. But basically, Filipinos, our second second language is basically English, so it's not gonna be a concern. All right. So, Dr. Lisa, do you wanna add on to what Dr. Asa said, or any advice before we end? I think we are 8 minutes over time already. I wish we can extend it as far as we want to. So any words from why don't we start it this way? Why don't we have some words from Arlen, Emmanuel, and Caleb, and then I'm gonna turn you over to our host for tonight for the glass half full. I'll start with you, Arlen.
Go ahead. Well, I just want to say thank you to actually the two members the group that I created. And what's funny is in the Philippines they call me Dodong, right? Just like my nickname.
What is it?
And I create it Dodong.
Dodong.
Yeah. So I created a group. It's called Dodong Mental Institution. So pretty much I invite people to be open, just to be optimistic. And I took a break, and some people went out. Some people walked out, and Emmanuel and Kyla stayed, and I don't know, I'm just being emotional. So happy they came up and they opened up, because it's a very serious problem in the Philippines that's unrecognized. You can't blame the culture for that, but again, like, there's lack of education, and I'm just proud of both of them, and I want to thank you, Dr.
Yeah.
Lisa.
Let's give them a big round of applause, Arlen. Emmanuel and Caleb. Thank you so much, Arlen. All right, Emmanuel.
I just want to say, thanks for everyone who's here, who's trying to help those people who are currently having problems in their mental health, or even today during the pandemic. We know that many people, especially the millennials or the Gen Zs, are experiencing severe sadness, and I think this program is very helpful for those who seek advice, and that's pretty much it.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel. And good luck to you, okay? All right, I'm going to turn you over to Caleb.
Thank you for this opportunity to speak and for letting people to hear this kind of topic, because it's mental health is important, and sometimes we tend to forget our mental health. Instead, we just focus on our physical body. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Caleb. And of course, I would like to our viewers to remind them that mental illness recovery is possible. Okay, so we just have to hang on, be strong. Before I turn you over to our intelligent and beautiful host, I would like to say thank you so much to Marichu Mga Lindan for tuning in, and of course, she just said it's super. The show is super. Congratulations, Dr. Lisa and Dr. Atsa, and of course to Arnold Santalises, who actually watching us over as well from New Jersey, and to Jinky Hugo. All right, so let me turn you over to our host. I'm going to start with Dr. Lisa.
Thank you, all of you, for participating. I think that we are going to have open discussions. It's so far been very helpful for all of us, and that's what we're here for. I think that my goal, I know, is to share the expertise I have, and it's helping me in many ways because I'm helping others. So for me, it's a blessing as well. And anything I can do to help anyone, just please contact me. You can find me on Facebook. You can contact Arlen. He knows exactly how to find me. He
That's
has like a
scary.
brain. I don't know how that works, but like email, text, phone. If you can't find me, you can contact Arlen and MJ as well. So I hope to see you all again in the new year. Happy holidays.
We're gonna be knocking in front of their door on the 25th, right, Arlen? Dr. Asa?
Yes, no, I would just like to add, I agree with Caleb when she said that we pay attention to our body, we exercise, we sleep, we eat, and we don't pay that much attention to our mind and our spirit. And we cannot survive without the balance of the three. So right now, we know already about food, sleep, eat, and now we're gonna be paying more attention to the mind so we can connect the mind and the body and be healthy and strong and happy.
Thank you very much. Okay, so there you go. So I would like to give the big round of applause to our guest for tonight again. Arlan, thank you so much. You're gonna be a regular to MJ Make My Day, right?
I'll be
Is it a yes or a yeah? That would be the question.
That's a definitely yes.
Okay, how about you, Caleb and Manuel? We gotta work together, guys. We're gonna start our group chat, the Glass Half Full group chat. I'm gonna add you. If you're not my friends yet, please, I'm inviting you to MJ Make My Day Facebook page and like my YouTube also, MJ Make My Day. All right, so everyone, before we end, I would like to take this opportunity to thank everyone for watching MJ Make My Day. And Christmas is just around the corner. Malapit na po yan. So next week, we're celebrating Christmas already. I would like to say thank you very much one more time to those who supported us for the Sagip Kapaskuhan. And please, on Monday, MJ Make My Day group will be in Kandungan ni Maria, Shelter for Maria, for a very special Christmas party for the Home for the Aged. So with that, I would like to say thank you so much once again for watching the Glass Full. Merry Christmas, everyone! MJ Make My Day, and God bless. Thank you so much.